I forgot to do the final keyword, what it is, what it does, why we have it. So we're going to cover it right now. But before we use it, let's look at our code that we have. Inside person, we had an issue or something we wanted to do, and that was to initialize name to a certain name, but then afterwards, we didn't want to be able to write to it anymore, right? So we disabled write, but enabled read with the get name, with the method get name. So if we want to disable write to it, there is something that we could use called the final keyword. What final does, it makes that variable into a constant. And when it's a constant, you cannot change the value of it anymore. So if I set it to any value, afterwards, it's not possible to change it. So what do I mean by this? Let's say if I put equal, let's say Reza, and you'll notice that everywhere else, I will get a compile time error saying this.name equal name cannot be assigned a new value because it's finalized. So when the value is set, never again can it be changed. And this is really powerful, again, because we want to make sure the other developers don't change things that they shouldn't. And we're going to get more and more into this as we go along. So now the final keyword, knowing that it's a constant, it could be utilized in a couple of ways. One, if I put a static value here, like if I put the Reza as the initial value, well, it's always going to be Reza for every person. And that's not what we want. We want every person to be named something, but the moment it's named, to never be able to change it again. So we're going to leave that final value, but we're going to erase the initialization here, and we're going to initialize it inside the constructor. This is allowed for the final keyword. Because this is a field, we're allowed to initialize it either here directly, or we could initialize it in the constructor. If we don't initialize it in the constructor, well, we're going to have a problem. Again, you'll notice there's a compile time error. It hasn't been initialized, but you set it to final. Okay, and this is important because the default value of string is this. So it's empty blank. So compiler knows that you're going to have a problem with this, so it doesn't want you to do it unless you specifically specify. So we're allowed to change the value here, or let's say again in the constructor, right? If I erase it and I try to, let's say we change the value when, I don't know, where the talk happens. So let's say this dot name equals something. Again, we'll get the error because it's set to final. The only place we could change the value, again, is where it's created here or inside the constructor as we've done before. Name. So this is a keyword that's essential to our use. See you guys in the next video.